Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, coming to you live from our Abuja studio. I've introduced our guest, so I don't want to spend too much time on a reintroduction at this juncture. Mr. Akinsuju, can you please give us your response to what you've just heard concerning the eligibility of the president potentially now to contest for re-election?
Yeah, it's interesting that it's still an ongoing debate, as it were. It was a major debate in 2015, and I thought that it had been resolved, but as it were, PDP will grasp at anything, to make a point. What is clear is that the military had even addressed a press conference and tried to settle this matter. I recall in the 70s, when you first had JAMB, if you wanted to apply, you apply in waiting, awaiting results. And you won't get to process your admission until you supply your exam results. And I think that was the case in 1961 when President Buhari applied into the NDA. He applied when he was in Form 6. That's the story. And the military told us that after the process, they had a list of results that also matched what the school principal extracted from the spreadsheet, from the Cambridge spreadsheet. Now, I also understand the fact that there will be limitation of technology back then. It's not likely that you have a photocopier, in 1961 anywhere. So the fact that the military could come out and say that they don't have the particular copy, but that there is a profile of the result, as it were, and a profile that matches the extraction from the master record, extracted from the Katsina Provincial School. That should settle this matter.
Mr. Yunusa, what are your thoughts?
There's a constitutional provision. This is a constitutional provision. It says that the section of the Constitution says you provide at least your WAEC result certificate. It didn't even ask you whether you passed grade or grade, even if it's F9 all through. Just present the document. Clearly, Mr. President had never said that he has the certificate. He has always maintained that his document is with the military. That has been his position. Now, the military had come out to tell Nigerians that he was selected from his school into the Nigerian army. They have not claimed that the result is with them. They have not made that particular claim. Now, the truth about it is that Mr. President went to school. He has his classmates. Everybody can justify to that. There's no doubt about it. But what baffles me most here is this. As long as you have gone to school and the school is existing, all you needed to do is go back to the school. I did not collect my certificate to give me my certificate. If the certificate is missing, tell me you are giving me a true certified copy of my results. So I tender. It's a simple matter. And then this is the particular issue of tendering affidavit, saying that my document is in the military. If the document is missing, give an affidavit that the document is missing, or I simply go back to my school and collect the true copy, certified copy from the school. And this matter will have been clear. But the basic fact that probably there's a document, of course, making rounds that been presented by Mr. President that has been the certificate, matching with what he has just said in the spreadsheet. If that is the certificate, then tender the certificate. As simple as matter.
One of the kind of issues that has arisen from this entire process, from the facts that have come out from the INEC concerning the two major candidates in this election. Obviously, we're discussing the school certificate of the president, but we know even on the other hand, there were some issues raised about the declaration of personal income by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, to the effect that essentially, I think his claim was that he has received about 60 million naira in personal income over the last 3 years. That's 20 million naira a year, paying to FIRS about 10 million naira over the past 3 years, averaging about a little bit over 3 million naira a year. Now, some people have raised flags about that, but I want to ask you, Mr. Akinsuju, is it not possible that this conversation about critical development issues is given too much weight to some of these semantics. I mean, why should the former vice president's declaration of assets or personal income be a major issue in an election so important when you talk about power, education, etc.?
Tax payment is a fundamental responsibility of any citizen. Once you draw an income within an environment, an economic environment, you are supposed to pay part of your income to government. And government generally trusts your decision, your voluntary decision to determine what level of tax you are going to pay. It is a social bond between government and citizen, because it is that part of your income that you pay to government that government uses to deliver on services. But the underlying philosophy is integrity. Integrity of the person making the remittance, to government. And that is why government frown when eventually it finds out that a citizen has been playing pranks or is lying on the value of the substance of his or her income, that determines what percentage is supposed to pay.
But on what basis are you alleging that he may be lying about this?
I have known Waziri Adamawa for so many years, and we know that he's a very, very rich man, even by the profiling of his companies alone. Even by the profiling of Intel alone, which does business principally in the American US dollars. And we also know is in the public space that he owns 16% of Intel. Intel does a business of nothing less than $100 million every year, nothing less than $100 million every year in Nigeria. And 16% of $100 million, if you are talking of dividends, you can only imagine that when you convert, and I'm just talking of Intel now. So if you convert 16%, okay, let's even say $10 million is a profit earned by Intel in Nigeria. 16% of $10 million will be what converted to Naira, and then look at what percentage you are supposed to be your dividends, and what percentage, 30% of that is what you are supposed to pay to government. Now, when you look at all that, you start wondering, American University is also there, where individual students pay up to 800,000 naira. And of course, we know that profitable engagements, are going on.
But we know that there's a difference between corporate income tax and personal income tax. I mean, is that not something that should be factored in?
I am talking about dividends. It is when you own a company, your company will pay corporate income tax. Your company will declare profit. It is from the profit that your company pays you dividends. And it is from when you are paid dividends, it becomes an income. And that income is also taxable.
No, but what incentive does the former vice president have of not declaring wealth that he has? I mean, ultimately, it's his, right? So what incentive, what are you trying to say here?
Well, I am sorry to say, it's the general culture of the Nigerian rich. And that is why, till today, we don't have up to 100 Nigerians paying up to 10 million naira as tax annually.
Mr. Tanko?
I think Atiku should even be commended for even having the courage of coming out to say, I have paid X amount of money into the coffers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thought at a particular time, maybe the man did not even declare anything. Because there are some who are already governing us at the moment. How much have they paid to the coffers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? And yet they are governing us.